All right, we thank you so much for watching us. It's still new Dawn on the People's Daily Ogtv. We are discussing the media, especially the broadcast industry at this point in time. We want to look at the Nigerian Society of Broadcasters, which is fast becoming a very big tree in the industry. And there's somebody who has been really working hard on, making sure that this society, takes its place in Nigeria with us this morning, and that's the Executive Secretary of the Broadcasting Organizations of Nigeria, our own Dr. YEMISI BAMGBOSE is joining us this morning. Doctor, good morning.
Good morning.
Good to see you again. Thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you for having me.
We'd like you to give us historical perspective to SMB. Has it ever existed before, or have there been any attempts to make it exist?
Well, thank you very much, and I appreciate you calling me to feature on this program. Good morning, Simiat. Yes, there have been an attempt in the past. As a matter of fact, the whole idea was conceived as far back as 1962. That is exactly 60 years ago, when Ambassador, now late Ambassador Olusola, conceived the idea when broadcasting came to Nigeria. He was then the zonal managing director of NTA, Western Zone. Later he was moved to the Southeast. So they himself and some others, they knew that it's very, very important for the broadcast industry to have a professional body to regulate the practice. Because you know that the role of NBC as an organization is quite different from the role of a professional body. NBC is a government regulatory agency that is regulating content and more importantly the equipment that they are using in the broadcast industry. That's the mandate of NBC. So the idea was conceived as far back as 1960, but they tried all they could to make it to materialize. They couldn't. In 1978, when he was leaving, he handed over the society to now Ambassador Yemi to continue with. They equally tried. They thought maybe it was because there was no legal backing for it. So in 1994, it was registered with the Corporate Affairs Commission, with 4 of them serving as directors. That is Chief Yemi Farumbi, Elder Dion Rekune, Alhaji Kenan Datruba, and Alhaji Mishika Ibrahim. They were all working in NTA, FRC, and Armed Forces of Nigeria at that time. So it was registered at the Corporate Affairs Commission, but they couldn't move it forward. But we thank God that now is the time, and the society is now getting up little by little.
You have done 2 inductions now,
yeah,
of members, one in Abuja, one in Lagos. Like how many members have actually come in?
Over 400.
Over 400?
Yeah. You see, when we met in Kano, in 2013, the society was transferred to Broadcasting Organization of Nigeria on the recommendation of Alhaji Muhammad Ibrahim, who happened to be the only one that became the DG of FRC and NBC. And part of his reason was that BON will be able to nurture SMB, BON being the umbrella body for all broadcast stations in Nigeria. But you know, BON is organizational in membership, not individual in membership. So he recommended that. So when I came in as Executive Secretary of BON, part of the challenges they put before me to find how we can move it forward is the reactivation of SMB. So a committee was set up to really look at the desirability of it or not. And that committee included even staff of NBC, those that are still working now and those that have retired, because I remember Busayo Olaiva from Ogun State was part of that committee, Festus Kennedy was part of that committee, and a host of other people from across the country. So we all agree that yes, it is the right time that we propel it to move forward.
Okay.
So, okay.
You said you have 400 members right now. So what are the prerequisites? What are the things one would need to be a member of the society?
Okay. Number one, you must have spent nothing less than 5 years in the broadcast industry on permanent employment.
Okay.
Because you see, we are looking for a society that is well standardized. We don't want people that are nomadic in nature.
Okay.
Not stable in an organization, because our thinking is that if you spend 5 years continuously in an organization, no matter what, you will have learned something. No matter how dull that brain may be, you will have learned something. So number two, you must at least have a minimum of diploma in related field. Okay. Initially, the idea was for the people that are working the nucleus of the broadcasting, those in news, those in programs, presenters, producers, news editors, reporters, and so on and so forth. But the people in engineering fought back seriously that engineering is the third leg of broadcasting, and there is no way we can push them out of it. And again, that there is specialization now, even in engineering. There is they now specialize in broadcast engineering now. So you must be one of the people that are actually working in that department before you can qualify in those department programs, news and engineering. Although other sectors they've been fighting seriously to make sure that they are
marketing. Marketing.
Well, you see, the fact of the matter is that we are trying to make sure that it doesn't become too wieldy, and most especially when we know that those in marketing, they belong to ACON. Okay. Although ACON more or less is not a professional body, it's more or less a government regulatory agency, but you have members who are subscribing to ACON. But like the one we have just concluded is like a window of opportunity. So many of them from marketing, from admin equally obtained the form and they were inducted. Okay. But I wouldn't know what is going to be the decision of the owners of society for the second set.
Oh, okay.
What precisely do you do, for the members now? What are the things that...
You see, the thing is that... a lot. You see, unfortunately for the broadcast industry, I think it remains the only profession that has no professional body regulating the practice. Because when you go to other professions, go to accountancy, go to engineering, go to medicine, go to law, you see all of them there. Even those that the media nurtured at the end of the day. In those days, when you study mass communication, it's either you specialize in print or in electronic, that is broadcast, or you specialize in advertising and publications together. And when you look at it, you see that even the publications, they have their own professional body, NIPR. APCON has gotten its own already. So the only arm that hasn't gotten anything is the broadcast sector. And a lot of benefits. The essence of professional body, number one is to standardize the profession. Okay. Number two is to continue to organize training, so that you can meet up with the best practices internationally. Number three is to serve as the gap between the old and the new. Hitherto before now, the broadcast industry is like a use and dump field. Immediately you leave, you are forgotten totally. And it's quite different from NUJ, it's quite different from Ratau. NUJ, for example, is limited in scope because it's only the people that are working in news that can be part of NUJ. And apart from that, it is only when you are in service or you are in employment that you can play active role in NUJ. Immediately you leave service, here you can just be there nominally as a member. There you can't take any position any longer. But society like Society of Nigerian Broadcasters is an individual in nature, and you are a member until you are no longer interested until death takes out of it. Yeah,
so what about the welfare of members, wherever they are serving?
Yeah, of course, you see, let me give you something, although I wouldn't want to say it, but I will not even be direct so that it will not mean that I want to embarrass some people. You see, there are some profession today, if I use the yardstick of Polytechnic as an example, when you obtain your HND and you come to government service, you are given level 8, maybe level 8 step 1 or whatever. And whereas there is another profession that they studied, they spend the same quality of time, 2 years, go for 1 year industrial attachment, they go back for their HND, and when they now obtain their own HND, they are given level 7. So now you can see the difference. The difference is that those ones that are placed on level 8, if you go and study them very well, they have their own professional body fighting for them. So that is welfare. Welfare is beyond the salary increment. Exactly. That one basically is the duty of trade unions. You understand? But you see, there's what we call in psychology, personal psychology, there's what we call intrinsic motivation and extrinsic motivation. At times, money is intrinsic motivation. It has some limited scope that will make you happy. But intrinsic motivation is the one that you are motivated internally. So you can see what the example I've just given. I mean, how would it be your colleague that you studied the HND, you have
different
been
based on different
the
levels.
same day? Yeah, you see, one is given level 8 and one is given level 7. You can see the gap already. So he has become your boss immediately. Whereas you studied the same, it wasn't a different scope of time and duration and so on and so forth. As a matter of fact, about a month ago, I was in Kano to be part of the people that were formulating the curriculum for HND, strategic communication and media studies. You know, unbundled now.
Yes.
So even at the university level, it has been unbundled.
Exactly.
So you can now specialize in broadcasting as a profession. You can now specialize in print and so on and so forth, instead of lobbying it together as mass communication. You understand? It's still part of what we are able to make reference.
Sure. Now, what level of collaboration are you?
Of course, you see, the fact of the matter is that part of what you are going to gain through collaboration is that you are not limited to your station. When you go out for conferences, for workshops, for seminars, you meet a lot of people. Precisely, I think it was Tuesday last week, we were in Lagos, and then the cream of the broadcast industry, you were able to see them there. And Engineer Vincent Maduka, Shingwe, Wigwe, Yemi Farombi, and again, you saw people came from Ekiti, from Bayelsa, from Undo, from everywhere. Then you mix together, you learn. I'm very sure that people that were in channels last week, they will have learned one or two things from their operations and a host of other. That is part of the benefit that you enjoy as a member of a professional body like SMB. So a lot of collaboration, and collaboration again internationally. For example, it is like Nigeria is the one that is pioneering this kind of society. It's quite different from the one we have in America. That of America, NAP, is like our own bond. It's owned by the owners. You understand? But this one is owned by individuals, workers, those that are practicing, and it equally accommodates those that have retired too, so that they can mentor. So,
apart from the 1994 legal backing that it got, are there efforts to again solidify that? You know, maybe. Something that the National Assembly will also...
Of course, you see, part of what God has helped us to do within this short period of time is that we've taken it to the National Assembly. It has scaled even the first reading, second reading. It has even scaled public hearing. The public hearing, a lot of people came in support of the society. The only agency that came to oppose it happened to be the National Broadcasting Commission. And incidentally, they now came back to say, okay, they want it, but they want it to be under NBC. They are just looking at what is going to accrue to them, but there is no way you put a professional body under the regulator. There is a regulatory agency, there's a professional body. When you go to engineering, you see that COREN is one government and regulatory agency regulating engineering. When you go to accounting, you see that is the financial institution under the federal government that's regulating. Even when you go to law, there is a law regulatory agency, and then when you go to other professions. So it was only, but now they have come back to say yes, they realize it. I can tell you that even one of the former DGs of NBC was equally inducted the other time, and in Abuja too, it was the immediate past acting DG of NBC that served as the moderator of the induction. That is Professor Armstrong in Dashaba. So it has scaled. In fact, if not for some hiccup that the chairman of the committee, we were told he was not available last week, but in the past at the level of House of Representatives. So I'm very sure that before, it's most likely this week that we get the note from the House of Representatives.
Okay, now, so if I don't become a member of SNB and I want to be still an active practitioner in the next 10, 15, 20 years, what am I going to be missing?
It is going to be very, very difficult. For example, let me tell you, in fact, those in academia, they have taken it far, far ahead of those of us that are practicing. In Abuja, Professor Umar Pate is a big scholar, is an erudite scholar, acclaimed erudite scholar. He's currently the Vice Chancellor of Federal University, Gombe. I think he is the head of the committee, or a member of the committee on the unbundling of mass communication. He told us openly there that in academic now, they have made it compulsory that if you are not a member of Society of Nigerian Broadcasters, you cannot even be promoted. That is at the university level. So it's going to be operational too at the level of the broadcasting.
So that goes.
Practice now.
Yeah. So if you are not a member, it's most likely that you are not even employed, because now those that have scaled this first induction, they are lucky. Those that are coming for the next batch are likely to sit for examination.
No, you've had two now.
You have to now.
We've had two, one in Abuja, one in Lagos.
Yes.
Okay, so any new induction?
Any new induction after this first batch, any inductee will have to sit for examination, maybe for one day. If you want to be a member of ANAN today, and that is why you see the broadcast industry is always a pity, because we try to nurture other people, and then we don't really want to work in our own profession. You see that there is a lot of decadence in broadcasting now. And most especially if you go to the private sector, you see a lot of things that you cannot never even believe it will happen in the broadcast industry. So it is going to get to a level that even before you join broadcasting, we know that broadcasting is an all-commerce field. You understand? Like I always say, there are two things that are very germane in broadcasting, in media generally. And that's why you have all sorts of people from various backgrounds. You have people that read English, you have people that studied philosophy, psychology. All of them are there. Because two things are important that we are looking for, is the talent and creativity. If you have the talent, it's possible you have first class in English, you may not be able to pronounce them very well in such a way. It's possible you have first class in English, you may not even be able to write articles. Features and a host of, but you may study psychology or philosophy or even religious studies, and you are very good you have the talent, the ability to create. So we know that, but that as it may, there must be some level of training, and that is what we are now hampering on. So for you to come in,
the next recruitment.
The next recruitment.
we
Well,
when will it be open for some of us that
I was actually going to say the exam. Will the exam be, maybe what is maybe similar is
maybe the next batch
is the exam will be very hard.
No, maybe the next batch will escape this.
It's not going to. If I take an, and that is it, the lesson that we are all going to learn here. When Mr. Lale was general manager of this very station, some about 15 years ago or whatever, he came with this opportunity of joining APCON,
Yes.
you know, and he said, okay, they should deduct the money from our salary. I was a member. I joined them in Lagos. I was equally inducted. I'm benefiting from it now because if I'm not a member of APCON, I couldn't have been in some of their committees.
Exactly.
You understand? So the exam, the people, they will put it together for them. It's not going to be something hard, but at least for them to know that, yes, we are in broadcast.
Okay, we must thank you so much, and we wish you the best of luck in this. Dr. YEMISI BAMGBOSE, Executive Secretary of Broadcasting Organizations of Nigeria, has been a very strong backbone of SMB, the resuscitation of SMB, and we want to pray that this venture will become hugely successful. You know, while you're still alive. Thank you so much for coming.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. Okay, that's all we can actually take on today's program, New Dawn on the People's Study, OGTV 25. We thank you so much for watching us. We'll come back next Monday, the same team, Simet and I. But tomorrow, don't forget the Yoruba version of this program, or Tuanjo will hit the airwaves at the same time, between 8 and 9:30. Thanks so much for watching us. Have a great Monday. Bye for now.
My name is Chief Olumide Falola. We want you to join our consultant team, though we have over 300 as we speak. Join them and make not less than